Happening now, Jamestown looks at residency requirements for newly hired police officers. Plus, a local sheriff's deputy and Westfield police officer are touted as heroes following a residential fire overnight.
Well, it's broken record kind of weather. We've just got lots of sunshine today and tomorrow, but we crank up the heat for summer as we go into next week. I've got the details next as the news at noon starts right now.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
And thanks for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould. Our top story, Jamestown City Council and Mayor Eddie Sundquist are considering the adoption of a new law establishing a residency requirement for all new hires within the Jamestown Police Department. The legislation, which would be discussed during the City Council's work session on Monday, calls for new officers whose employment starts January 1 to maintain a residence in the city for 5 consecutive years. Now, newly employed officers will have a period of 6 months from the date of employment to establish residency in the city. After a minimum of 5 years here, sworn officers will be able to move to another residence within Chautauqua County or an adjoining county. Officials say the resolution is intended to have the added benefit of more local applicants, as well as ensuring that new officers are fully invested in the community they serve. They say, however, that it's in the best interest of Jamestown that the residency requirement isn't a lifetime rule. Now, the idea of requiring Jamestown police officers to live within city limits was first brought up at a Black Lives Matter rally earlier this year. A 65-year-old man is being treated at a regional hospital for burns suffered during a trailer fire early this morning in Ripley. The Chautauqua County Sheriff's Office says first responders were called to the blaze on Maple Avenue just after 1 a.m. Now, deputies say the couple living inside could not safely evacuate because of fire and smoke. A sheriff's deputy, with help from a Westfield police officer, entered the trailer through a bedroom window and rescued the couple. The deputy was also able to save 5 dogs from inside the residence. The male half, a 65-year-old man, was airlifted to Pittsburgh for treatment in a burn unit, while his wife was taken to Hammett Medical Center in Erie. Now, the county's fire investigation team says the fire likely started from discarded smoking material inside the trailer. Crews from Ripley and Westfield fire departments extinguished the blaze. A new scam aiming to take advantage of those infected with COVID-19 is surfacing around the state. And as our Christine Kuzminski reports, local officials are being proactive by warning residents.
Chautauqua County is warning residents about a scam in which callers are claiming to be contact tracers, alerting residents they may have COVID-19. This is all an attempt to gain personal and financial information about victims. Public health planner Shelley Wells says that her office was recently notified by state and federal authorities about the scam, and that scammers claim they work for the health department.
So they call someone, they say that you've been named as a close contact of a positive case, which is what a contact tracer does. But then they're asking for financial information.
Wells expresses that an official contact tracer from the county health department would not require financial information, and it is important that the public is educated on what free services are available for county residents.
A public health nurse working with you on a positive case or a contact tracer, it is not requesting money. This is a service that's free to you, and so anyone that's requesting money in relation to a service to, follow you, help you learn about isolation, help you learn about quarantine, follow you through those periods is not going to be requesting money from you.
At this point in time, there are no FDA-approved vaccines, prevention medication, or test kits for COVID-19. If this is advertised to you, Wells says you can report the scamming to the Federal Trade Commission at ftc.gov/complaint. Wells says currently, Chautauqua County hasn't received any complaints about COVID scamming.
With technology and phones the ability to call from different phone numbers, and it could very easily happen to someone.
Wells advises that if you do receive a COVID-related email or text, do not click on the link and don't give callers any of your information. Reporting in Jamestown, Christine Kosminski, WNY News Now.
Christine, thank you. Currently, there are 278 confirmed cases of the virus here in Chautauqua County, with 15 active, and more than 250 people have recovered. Well, Monday is going to be an explosive day for residents in the town of Cold Spring in Cattaraugus County, but no worries. Officials say it's safe. The Chautauqua County Bomb Squad, Erie County Bomb Squad, U.S. Air Force Explosive Ordnance Disposal Team, and the FBI are conducting a controlled disposal of expired ordinances starting at 11 a.m. on Monday. The Cattaraugus County Sheriff's Office says the demolitions will be done in a controlled environment and that all safety measures and calculations have been completed. Residents, though, will be able to hear the explosives throughout the time. Well, we thank you all for joining us here for WNY News Now as we close out another week here in August. Let's check in with the comments and say hello to Jessica. Thanks so much for joining us today. Good to see Gary, Linda, Alex, Pam, Rick, Bob, Joseph, Hector, and David as well. Happy Friday to Wendy. Great to see you guys tune in every day. We appreciate it so much. Let's switch gears now and get a first check of our weather forecast. That's where we find Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter. And Dakota, it's kind of been a rinse and repeat the last couple of days. Every day at noon, we've been seeing a lot of sunshine out there.
Yes, it's just been rinse and repeat, broken record kind of weather where you just copy and paste the exact same weather we had yesterday. End of another work week, Friday. Next week is the last full week of August. Can you believe that? All right, this is a live look over Lakewood for you, showing you those blue clear skies smiling down at you, but it's warmer today, but radar, same as yesterday, nice and dry, nothing going on, so it's going to be dry today and tomorrow. Temperatures were actually warmer than we were as a noon hour yesterday. 74 here in town, 76 Warren, 76 Tidiute, 74 Corey, 76 in Clymer. In Randolph, you're at 76 in Olean, checking in at 73 as a noon hour. So temperatures are warmer today, and the temperatures are going to continue to climb as we go throughout the weekend and essentially into early next week. We topped out at 75 yesterday. 52 was the low this morning, and hope you enjoyed it because the crisp, cool nights are done and over with for a while. 92 is the record high set back in 1955, and on this date, 20 years ago, we bottomed out at 38 degrees at the airport. So, just 20 years ago, we broke that record. So basically more sunshine for you, rinse and repeat weather. Take yesterday's weather, copy and paste it, add a few more degrees on top of it. There's your weather. 76 to 85 today, southwest wind averaging about 6 to 12 miles per hour. But we crank up the heat and the humidity into the weekend and into early next week. How warm? I'll tell you in just a few. Justin?
All right, looking forward to it, Mr. Hunter. Thank you. SUNY Fredonia officials say a student at the university has tested positive for COVID-19. That's according to a letter that was sent out by the school's president, Stephen Colson, this week. Colson says the student was notified and the college quickly moved them into isolation off campus. Now, also in the letter, the president says that the Student Health Center and Chautauqua County Department of Health are collaborating on contact tracing and are going to notify any individuals who need to be quarantined. Exposed students are quarantining in an off-campus location there in Fredonia. Now, the school does have a web page with a dashboard set up to keep the campus community updated about active cases, positive and negative test results, and any other data that they are allowed to share. This is the first student at the college to test positive for COVID-19 since returning to class just this month. All counties in New York State will have to test for COVID and the flu this fall after Governor Andrew Cuomo directed the state health department to notify county health departments in a letter. Specifically, county health departments have until Wednesday to respond to the letter, including their plans and also informing the state of any problems or issues they could have with conducting the test at the same time. State Health Commissioner Howard Zucker says that the plan for testing is especially important in a year ravaged by the COVID-19 virus and that the state wants to be on guard to combat spread of both of the illnesses. Now, in addition, state officials are pushing for local increases in flu vaccinations, especially among those most vulnerable. We have a call into Chautauqua County's health department, and we'll update our reporting as we get more. Coming up next, New York's plastic ban bag upheld in court with one change. And later, a long-sought addition to a local city park is about to be considered by City Council. We'll tell you about that and more as WNY News Now continues.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
I grew up in a single-parent home. We were raised by my mom in a one-bedroom apartment in Queens, and I slept in what was supposed to be a dining room just off the kitchen. We were poor and fell behind in our bills. More than once, our electricity was shut off and there were eviction notices taped to our door. I remember walking into our kitchen and finding my mother standing by the stove, crying to herself because she didn't know what to do and felt helpless. I was about 9 or 10 when our apartment was robbed. I remember arriving home with my mother and brother and finding the door open, feeling confused because the first thing I saw was that our television, a set which forever sat on a stand in the living room, was missing. I know firsthand what it's like to be a victim, to be assaulted, robbed, to have things taken from you which you're never going to get back, and to be scarred by experiences which 30 and 40 years later still haunt me. We're lucky enough to live in Chautauqua County where by and large we feel safe, but unfortunately bad things do happen here. I want to be the district attorney who personally prosecutes the most serious crimes and who's there for victims every step of the way. These are the people I want to represent, to fight for their justice, to fight for our justice in the courtroom, to help people who have suffered at the hands of others. This is why I want to be your district attorney.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
And welcome back. Congressman Tom Reed is calling on his legislative colleagues to return to the nation's capital to resume discussions and ultimately pass a second stimulus package. The Republican Corning native was asked by reporters yesterday where negotiations stand regarding the package. Reed says that he is keeping the details of the talks private while adding that the American people need both congressional chambers to reconvene for further discussions. He says he hopes they can strike a deal.
I just encourage folks to continue those communications and get back in the room because the American people deserve for Congress to do its job. It's just time that we don't have to play politics all the time. And worry about elections. And that's what's really taking over a lot of the conversations by the folks that are involved here. And the bottom line is the hope that I have is that people really remember why they ran for office and why they're in a position of being an elected official, and that is to do the work for the people back home. And they need it now more than ever.
The U.S. House of Representatives is scheduled to return from its August recess tomorrow. New York State's never-enforced plastic bag ban survived a lawsuit by a bag manufacturer and convenience stores, but a judge ruled lawmakers went too far when the law allowed retailers to use thicker, heavier bags. The state's Supreme Court ordered part of the law stricken because it allowed stores to use thicker bags that environmentalists feared could be worse for the environment. State officials are studying the court ruling now and are expected to notify businesses about when and how the law can be enforced. Bag makers argued that the law would bankrupt them because the state regulations failed to give legislative permission before implementing the thicker bag exemption. The U.S. Postmaster General testifies before a Republican-led Senate committee today. As our John Lawrence reports, this will be his first chance to publicly address accusations that changes he's implemented will hurt mail-in voting this fall.
The man responsible for U.S. mail delivery thrust into the spotlight. Postmaster General Louis DeJoy is drawing bipartisan concern over changes put into place since his tenure began in June. He's since promised to pause changes until after the election.
The point about the machinery being out exposed to the elements is how difficult it will be to reverse what he's done. Even if there is some commitment confirmed in writing.
DeJoy's administration has removed letter sorters, ended overtime pay, and reduced postal operating hours in numerous states. An internal email obtained by CNN instructs workers not to reconnect any machines taken offline without approval.
Some of the damage has already been done and, caused some distrust in the American people to use the mail system.
Critics of DeJoy, an ally and supporter of President Trump, say his changes could hamper mail-in voting in November during a pandemic. The president has repeatedly made unfounded fraud claims about voting by mail, saying it's a Democratic attempt to prevent a second Trump term.
This is just a way they're trying to steal the election, and everybody knows that, because the only way they're going to win is by a rigged election.
Republican leaders say the post office remains vital.
We're not going to let it go under, and certainly we're not going to have anything that affects the fall election.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
John, thank you. DeJoy is scheduled to appear before a Democrat-led House committee on Monday. A long-sought addition to amenities at Jackson Taylor Park here in Jamestown will be one step closer to reality following Monday's City Council meeting. The Council is expected to approve a contract for construction of an American with Disabilities Act approved restroom to the concession stand at the park. Now, the contract is with G.L. Olson of DeWittville and is set at an expensive $303,000. The project will be funded by a community block grant ADA Improvement Fund. Well, we thank everyone for joining us here for WNY News Now as we close out another week. Let's check in with the comments and say hello to Sean. Hopefully you're doing well. Good to see you. Good to see Raymond as well. Thanks so much for tuning in. Leona, Joseph, and Kevin is here. Hopefully you're doing well. Thank you so much for joining in and getting your local news with us. Let's now get a check of our local weather forecast with Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter. Hey, Dakota.
Hey, Justin. And $303,000 to renovate a suite of bathrooms? Woof! Who knew it cost that much? All right, let's talk about days so far this summer here. So basically, the clouds and sunshine have been doing a fair battle this summer. We've had 38 days since June 1st where we've had sunny to mostly sunny skies, and we've had 43 days where we've had mostly cloudy to overcast days. This also includes days where we've had rain. So obviously, it's been a fair battle, 38 to 43. Add that together, you get 81 days. Quick math, isn't it great? But anyway, it's been a fair battle. We'll see which one wins out. Of course, we have about another month left of summer to go, so we'll see where we go. But the gooder or the better news, or maybe not so much better news, is we're gaining night each and every night as the sunsets come up sooner and sooner. We're actually gaining more in the length of nighttime. So obviously that'll help aid in cooler temperatures at night because we have more nighttime. Downtown Jamestown from the DoubleTree shows you just mainly sunny skies. 74 southwest wind of 8. Dew point up a little bit more than it has been, but it's still relatively low at 58 degrees. So obviously when the dew point's in the 50s, it's not so bad. But hey, today actually wouldn't be a bad idea if you have a beach trip planned. 76 right at the waterfront, but the UV index high today, so sunscreen recommended, and the Lake Erie water temperature dropped a degree down to 75 degrees. That's the official Lake Erie water temperature. So satellite and radar shows you basically just a few of those high clouds moving across the southern tier. Otherwise, that's it. It's basically going to be be a repeat of yesterday with mostly sunny skies. High pressure is still in control of our weather, and that high is not going anywhere for at least the next day or two. But the bigger story is probably going to be the tropics here. We now have a new tropical storm down here, Tropical Storm Laura. It is formed down here near, it's basically east of Puerto Rico here. Tropical storm, 45-mile-per-hour winds. And we also have Tropical Depression 14 still here off the coast of Mexico here. This is going to be going up into the Gulf. And what's interesting is these two systems are likely going to end up in the Gulf of Mexico. And this has happened before where we've had two tropical storms basically in the Gulf of Mexico. It's happened before, and both of these are forecast to become at least a Category 1 hurricane. We don't know the exact path on these yet. It's still too early, but both of these could likely end up in the Gulf of Mexico sometime next week, something we're going to keep an eye on. So as we go through the afternoon today, brilliant sunshine, up around 81. The humidity is going to be up a little bit. As we head into tonight, another mainly clear night. Get out and stargaze if you can. 68 degrees this evening with basically just the moon in the sky. Then as we go into tomorrow, watch the sunrise. We're going to be up around 63 degrees tomorrow morning as we start the day. Next 7 days of your life on the screen right now. 85 tomorrow, 84 Sunday. Small chance for at least a pop-up shower somewhere in the afternoon, but it also turns much more humid as well. Monday, Tuesday, we keep the chance for a spotty shower or thunder shower, mainly dry on Wednesday. Thursday, a few more showers, but notice how the temperatures stay in the lower to mid 80s throughout much of next week. We'll be right back. Don't go away. Want weather now? Download the WNY News Now mobile app and stay up to date on severe weather alerts. Plus, anytime hazardous weather strikes, stick with the Southern Tier's only 24/7 streaming network that keeps you safe. You're all in a tornado warning, so now is the time to go to a safe place, small room, lowest floor, near the center, away from windows. What are you waiting for? Download the WNY News Now mobile app today. It's free in the Apple App Store and Google Play Store.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
There's an old saying, there's no news in the newsroom. Well, it's true. The time I spend at the anchor desk is just part of my day. Most of our time is spent gathering stories in the community, stories that matter to you. We can't do it alone, and we need your help. When you see breaking news or have a news tip we should know about, drop us a line on Facebook today, email our news desk, or call our newsroom at 488-7226 so we can bring those stories straight back to you.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
And welcome back. In an effort to help animals find their forever home, WNY News Now is partnered with the Chautauqua County Humane Society in a segment called The Pet of the Week. Joining us is Brian Papalea, the Director of Community Relations for the Chautauqua County Humane Society, to tell us more about our furry friend, Gary. Hey, Brian, great to have you on.
Hey, Justin. Thank you for having us on. Welcome to the Chautauqua County Humane Society virtually. Behind me is the cat colony. Those are for cats that are under 4 years of age, between 6 months and about 4 years. And what I'm in right now is the senior cat colony, and we are going to meet Gary. Gary's 4 years old. Here, let me do this. And he's just hanging out. And he is an FIV cat. That's like a feline version of the HIV. And something that I just want to point out is that is not a setback for him. He can be around other cats. He can, do everything like a cat would do. The only time there would be any danger of transmission is if there was a serious fight where there was, a lot of major injury. So there is, to kind of dispel the idea that FIV cats need a lot different lifestyle than what a cat that doesn't have that would. It's really not true. So we just wanted to kind of spotlight him and get him home.
Yeah, and he's so chill, too. I know the senior part of the cat colony is a really cool place to go. And the difference there in the FIV, how does a cat contract something like that? Is it similar to how a human would?
Not as much. I mean, I'm not super familiar in how it's transmitted through people, but it's not transmitted through saliva. It's not transmitted through any kind of sharing of litter boxes or anything. It's from what I understand, and this is not my line of expertise, but like I said, it has to be some kind of major injury where there would be a lot of blood introduced, or they can be born with it, that sort of thing. So something we always encourage with the Humane Society is, in a situation with any animal, you can do your research, you can call us, and we can, our experts on the topic can fill you in and make you as educated as you feel you need to be. And also, if you have a vet, always feel free to talk to your vet.
Certainly. So looking at Gary, can you tell us a little bit more about kind of what he's like? I mean, a lot of cats, you'll get some that are pretty hyper, some that are pretty laid back. With him being a little bit older, I imagine that what we're seeing now is probably what we're going to get.
Yeah, in my experiences with Gary, he's pretty laid back. He likes his treats, and any cat, when you adopt them, are going to be a little nervous at first. So it's always good to take a little time to slowly introduce them to the home, whether you have cats or not. And I think when you find this guy, get him home and get him adjusted to you, you're just going to find kind of a loving cat who is kind of laid back. And, they always like to look out the window and watch birds and stuff like that. So I think that's the kind of cat you're going to get with him.
Certainly. So is there anything, if someone was interested in learning a little bit more about Gary? I know COVID-19 has changed a lot, but are they still able to come down and meet him in a sense?
Yes. All we would ask you to do is, if you're comfortable with doing such things online, go to chqhumane.org and fill out the online application, which is under the adoptions tab. Or you can stop by if you want a paper application. You can stop by our Second Chances thrift store on Fairmont Avenue and pick one up, or we will mail you one. Just call us here at the shelter.
Gotcha. And then before actually taking Gary home, is there an opportunity where they could come in and interact with him, or because of COVID, are you trying to stray away from that?
Well, when someone fills out an adoption application, they are not held to adopting that animal. We always offer the opportunity to do the meet and greet. You can think about it. You might meet a different cat, or fall in love with a dog. It's just we need that adoption application filled out so you can come in to do that meet.
Gotcha. Yeah, certainly getting the process started. Brian, great to have you back on the program. I know for a while we had to take a hiatus, but technology is great. Now we can bring anybody on from anywhere. So
it's great to be here. Thank you for bringing that, bringing this back in.
Absolutely. It's our pleasure to partner with you. So again, to learn more about Gary or any of the other residents of the shelter, all you have to do is contact the Chautauqua County Humane Society at 716-665-2209, or the best way is at chqhumane.org. Gary and Brian, great to have you both on the program. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin.
Now let's get a final check of our weather forecast with Dakota.
He's cute. Although, unfortunately, I can't have cats. My landlord doesn't allow pets, unfortunately, and I had a cat, so I know how cats are. 55 to 65 tonight, mainly clear and starlit. Just a little bit more muggy and a little bit more milder than it has been in past nights, but otherwise not bad, but we're cranking up the heat as we go into next week. Justin?
All right, Dakota, thank you very much. That's going to do it for us today, although I have a programming note to share with all of you. Some exciting news here at WNY News Now. If you remember, back in February, we revamped our set and we welcomed a new design with a new brick setup and a new weather area as well. But because of COVID-19, we found that our overall operation wasn't too friendly to have a lot of people in at once. So we are actually in the process of moving to a different section of our building here in beautiful downtown Jamestown. So next week, the program will look a little bit different, with Dakota and I working from our desks in our current newsroom. And then the following Monday, we will launch our program from a brand new studio with COVID-19 and social distancing in mind, so Dakota and I can finally be back together again in the same environment. And same for our newsroom, so that we can continue to serve the community the best we can, because everybody's been working from home for so long, and it'll be great to finally have everyone together. So stay tuned, because we'll be giving you little updates here as the week goes along. That's going to do it for us today. Of course, news does continue on our website and mobile app. Have a great day. We'll see you back here on Monday at noon.